Welcome to the Spooky Sandman, the channel where chilling tales come to life. Get ready to lose yourself in a world of suspense, terror, and the unexpected, because tonight, you're in for a story that might make you think twice before picking up your mobile phone again. This one is called The Lost Phone. It was an ordinary Tuesday evening when Rachel stepped onto the bus, her mind preoccupied with mundane thoughts. The air inside was heavy with the smell of diesel, mingled with stale fast food and damp clothing. She found a seat near the back, grateful for the relative quiet amidst the faint hum of fluorescent lights and the muted chatter of other passengers. The routine was a comfort, just another evening on her way home. But something was different tonight. Nestled into the seat beside her was a phone. It was small and black, with a single crack running diagonally across the screen. At first, Rachel barely noticed it, her focus absorbed in replying to a text. But when she stood to get off at her stop, the phone caught her attention again, its presence nagging at her conscience. Someone must have forgotten it, she thought. Picking it up, Rachel planned to turn it in at the transit authority's lost and found. Yet curiosity got the better of her. She swiped the screen, hoping to find a clue about the owner. Instead of a typical menu of apps and contacts, there was only a single name listed: Home. Her thumb hesitated above the button. It felt intrusive, but what harm could there be in calling to let someone know their phone had been found? The line rang twice before it connected. A deep, gravelly voice answered. "Hello?" The voice sent a shiver through her. It was oddly cold, dispassionate, and unnerving. She opened her mouth to speak, but something about the silence on the other end made her stop. The line abruptly went dead. Then, to her shock, the camera app opened on its own. The lens stared back at her like a single, unblinking eye. Her distorted reflection stared back at her, stretched and warped by the cracked screen. The sight made her stomach twist. She quickly powered the phone off, stuffed it into her bag, and got off at her stop. The evening air was cool and damp as she walked the short distance to her apartment. Rain began to fall, tapping softly against the hood of her jacket. She quickened her pace, eager to get home. Inside her apartment, Rachel locked the door behind her and tossed the phone onto the kitchen counter. She stood there for a moment, staring at it as if it might spring to life again. The thought made her laugh nervously. "It's just a phone," she told herself. "Nothing sinister about it." She turned away to make herself a cup of tea. The sound of the kettle boiling was a welcome distraction. But then, from behind her, the phone vibrated. Startled, Rachel turned to see the screen flicker on. A message appeared. "Keep the phone on. You're the star of the show now." Her hands trembled as she read the words. Who was sending these messages? Her first instinct was to call the police, but when she reached for her own phone, it wouldn't turn on. No matter how many times she pressed the power button, the screen remained stubbornly black. Panic set in. The black phone vibrated again, and this time, it was a call. The screen displayed no number, just the word, unknown. Rachel hesitated, her finger hovering over the screen. Against her better judgment, she answered. "You shouldn't have picked it up, Rachel," the voice rasped. Her blood ran cold. How did they know her name? "Who is this?" she demanded, her voice trembling. The line crackled with static before the voice spoke again. "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that I see you." Rachel's heart pounded. She darted to the window, pulling the curtain aside and peering into the street below. Nothing seemed out of place. The voice chuckled, low and menacing. "You can't see me, but I'm always watching." The call disconnected. Rachel's breath came in shallow gasps. Her rational mind told her to get rid of the phone, but something about it felt like a trap. She tossed it onto the couch and grabbed the landline, dialing her brother, Jack. He answered on the second ring, his voice groggy from sleep. "Jack, someone's watching me," she blurted, her words tumbling out in a panicked rush. She told him about the phone, the calls, the messages. Jack's tone shifted from sleepy to alert. "Stay where you are. Lock the doors. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Rachel nodded, even though he couldn't see her. She hung up and double-checked the locks on her door and windows. The apartment felt suffocatingly quiet. She glanced at the phone, still lying on the couch. Its screen was dark, but she knew it wasn't dormant. The minutes dragged by like hours. Rachel sat in the kitchen, gripping a kitchen knife in one hand. Every creak of the apartment made her jump. Finally, she heard Jack's voice outside the door. Relief washed over her as she ran to let him in. But when she reached for the lock, she froze. Jack was calling her name, but it sounded off, like a bad imitation of his voice. "Open the door, Rachel. It's me," the voice said again. Her stomach twisted. She backed away from the door, clutching the knife tighter. The black phone vibrated again, its screen lighting up with another message. "Don't trust him." Her pulse raced as she tried to think. Was it really Jack? Or was this part of the game? The voice outside grew louder, more insistent. Then, with a deafening crash, the door burst open. Rachel screamed as a tall, shadowy figure stepped into the apartment. His face was obscured, but his eyes, cold, predatory slits, glimmered in the dim light. Rachel stumbled backward, tripping over the coffee table. The knife clattered to the floor. The figure stepped closer. The black phone now in his hand, its camera pointed at her. "Smile for your audience," he said, his voice dripping with malice. She scrambled to her feet, adrenaline surging through her veins. Her eyes darted around the room, landing on the knife just out of reach. The figure loomed closer, his movements slow and deliberate. Rachel made a desperate lunge for the knife, her fingers closing around the handle just as he grabbed her arm. With a scream, she twisted, slashing wildly. The blade caught his arm, and he let out a guttural snarl, releasing her. Rachel didn't wait to see how badly he was hurt. She bolted for the door, her bare feet pounding against the cold floor. Behind her, the man gave chase, his heavy boots echoing in the hallway. She made it to the stairwell, her heart hammering in her chest. The exit was so close, but she could hear him gaining on her. Rachel's legs burned as she pushed herself to run faster. She burst out onto the street, rain soaking her hair and clothes. A car screeched to a halt in front of her, its headlights blinding her. The driver, Jack, jumped out, his face pale with fear. "Get in!" he shouted. Rachel didn't hesitate. She dove into the car as Jack hit the gas, the tires skidding on the wet pavement. In the rearview mirror, she saw the figure standing in the street, his silhouette illuminated by the taillights. He was holding the phone, its screen glowing faintly. Rachel's hand shook as she tried to explain what had happened, but Jack just nodded, his jaw tight. "We'll figure it out later. Right now, we just need to get somewhere safe." The phone in Rachel's pocket buzzed one last time. She pulled it out, her heart sinking as she read the message. "You can run, Rachel, but you can't hide. The show must go on." And that, dear viewers, concludes tonight's chilling tale. But before you go, take a moment to ask yourself, what would you do if you found a mysterious object that refused to let you go? Would you risk uncovering its secrets? Or would you leave it behind and never look back? If this story sent shivers down your spine, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying tales that blur the line between reality and nightmare.